finally got this flipping front panel piece. What's it called? A stomacher. Oh my god. Oh, what a couple of days. It's, yeah, this has been a not too successful sewing weekend. Oh dear, I'm so brain dead. This is what happens when you don't sew on a project for, what, 3 weeks, and you do about 20 different projects in between. And yeah, and then a poly as well, and it's just, yeah, the universe is definitely trying to tell me that I can just slow down on this project. I don't need to panic to get it finished for next weekend, because it's not going to get finished for next weekend, because as you can see I still don't have sleeves on it. I've only managed to get the blooming stomacher done, but it is done and it's looking nice, so at least that's something. So you've probably seen a bit of footage just before this of me sort of cutting out and sort of starting to work on this. So I cut out the pieces from the pattern. I'm fairly confident that it would be the right size, and for some reason it ended up being far too long. It was over 1 inch too long at the sides here, so I then had to spend time kind of cutting it down and rechecking it and and yeah, I mean, I thought I'd marked the pattern to where I'd shortened it, but maybe I hadn't. It was, like I say, it was 3 weeks ago, and that's what happens when you stall on a project and you don't record properly what you've done. So yeah, don't do that. Always make notes of what you've done, but I thought I had. But so the stomacher is made from 2 pieces of the cotton drill, just to make sure it's nice and sturdy and stable. And in between that, I've stitched. You won't be able to see them because they're on the inside, but I've stitched boning channels, and there are some boning channels just to keep it nice and taut and nice and flat and smooth when it's kind of pulled around my body. And then the stripy layer has been applied over the top. So I stitched it around the sides, then the bottom, and up the other side again, and then I turned it through, and I've hand stitched it just along this top here. And yeah, and that seems to have worked. You'll be able to see, I unflap the flappy bit. It is pinned just down here. Yeah, trying to pin stomachers on yourself, that's not fun, especially when because it's so far back as well. Because of where this sits. I mean, maybe that's an error on my part. I should have moved it forward, you know, 1 inch or so, but you know, I don't. Yeah, you don't want it too far forward, because that's just, yeah. But anyway, it is where it is. So yeah, so the stomacher pin's quite far back around the side, so trying to pin this in is a bit of a pig. Yes, I stabbed myself several times. But yeah, I am pleased that my idea to keep that smooth front and not have a visible fastening down the front actually has worked, and I'm, yeah, really pleased with that. So I'm looking at my monitor, and we shall carry on with the sleeves next, which is the last, I say big job, it's probably the last complicated job to do, is obviously just get the sleeves in. And it's one of those things, they could go in really nicely, or they might need a bit of tweaking and fiddling about with and end up being a bit of a pig. We shall see, but I'm fairly confident that they'll be okay. But I want to do another mock-up fitting in them before I go on to my fabric, because I've not got a lot of my stripy fabric left, so I can't afford to make any mistakes with the sleeves. Once they're cut out, they will be cut out, and I will have to make them work. So yes, I want to make sure I mock them up really well. And then the last big job is the trimming, which is not a complicated job, but it's just a big job, because I've got to, obviously, essentially I've got to make it all, and then I've got to ruffle it all up. So yeah, but we'll come to that. But yeah, the next stage is done. So I'm going to fit this mock-up of the sleeve into the armscye on the gown, and which is the new shaped armscye, where I adjusted the back of the armhole a little bit and just raised the panel slightly. I'll be using this to create the pattern. I've already got the pattern, which is what I traced off of the Janet Arnold pattern in the Janet Arnold book. But I know that on the Katrina gown, it's a two-piece sleeve, and it's a one-piece sleeve on the original gown in the book, yeah, which is this one. So I need to work out where the panels are going to sit so that the stripes sit hopefully right on the sleeves. So yes, that's my next task. Right, let's pin this in. So straight away, just pinning the sleeve in. So it's the original sleeve that I cut from the Janet Arnold pattern. When I tried the first mock-up version of this on, this funny kind of dog's leg kind of corner bit that you get on 18th century sleeves, it just didn't seem to be sitting in the right place in the arm sign. I kind of felt sure that looking at the pattern in the book and sort of other research in the American Duchess book and things like that, it felt like that dog's leg kind of bit needed to sit in where the seam of the back panel meets the shoulder strap, and it just wasn't doing it. It was far too low on the pattern. So one of the things I did was I recut the pattern with a much higher back, which I felt it needed anyway because it was sitting too low above against my stays. So I raised the whole back of the gown up, which is obviously raised this shoulder seam piece up here, and that's now sitting perfectly with that shape in the sleeve. Okay, well that's the sleeve in. This is just tacked in just to see how it feels. I mean, it's not bad. I'm not sure if it's a bit. Not sure what this is doing here. It feels like there's something pulling underneath. But on the whole, it's sitting so much better than it did on the first fitting I did with the sleeve. It's not pulling off my shoulder in the same way as it was before, and I think that is to do with changing that shape on the back of the bodice and raising that shoulder seam line on the back there, and hopefully you can see where that angle is sitting, which matches that weird angle on the sleeve. And yeah, and that's just sitting so much better. You can see the back of the bodice is sitting so much higher as well, so obviously it's completely covering my stays. She says, yes, I'm being naughty, I'm doing this, I'm not putting my stays on because I knew this would come back to bite me in the bum. I didn't make my stays front lacing, they're back lacing only, which means I needed help to get them on, and yeah, I just can't be bothered to put them on, to take them off, to put them on, to take them off again. Yeah, obviously I've done my earlier fittings have been done over the stays, but as you can see, because I put boning in the front of this piece, I can just squeeze into this just for fitting purposes. Okay, so after that last fitting that you just saw, I was fairly confident what I need to do to tweak the sleeves just to add a little bit more ease into them. So yeah, just a little bit tight and a little bit too snug to kind of move my arms around a little bit. So I kind of know what I need to do for that. So I went ahead and using the original pattern piece as drafted from the Janet Arnold Patterns of Fashion, you can probably see some marks here and here. So that's where I'm roughly going to put the seam lines to turn this into a two-piece sleeve. So you'll have the outer part of the arm, and you've got the under part of the arm, which is these two pieces here, which I need to basically to eliminate this seam here, and then there'll be two side seams, or a back side seam and a front side seam on the underarm, which is what I have done here. And excuse us, it's slightly pinned together, and I've been playing around with it, trying to sort of make sure the shape's right and sort of how it's looking. And you can obviously see I have lengthened it as well, because on the Katrina gown, her sleeves are wrist length. Personally, I'm not that keen on them being wrist length. I like the classic 18th century, you know, elbow length with a bit of a ruffle on it. But that's not what she wears. She wears elbow length. No, she wears wrist length with some trimming detail on the around the cuffs. So that's what we're going with. And if you look very carefully, you might just see the camera might just pick it up. But I've been playing around with the position of where the stripes need to go so they echo as closely as possible the stripes that are on the Katrina gown. I'm now going to go transfer this into another calico mock-up because I can't afford to mess up this on the striped fabric. I've got just enough striped fabric left to do a set of sleeves, and they've got to be right. I can't afford to get it wrong, so yeah, being extra careful. So I just want to do a quick update of where I'm up to with my sleeve fitting. This is the original sleeve from the original pattern. Still, it's the 3/4 length. It's shorter. You can see it's too tight. This is my recut version of the pattern. This is version 2 now. The first pattern wasn't a bad fit, but I had to do just a few more tweaks to it. I need to add a little bit more into the sleeve head, and ow, I feel the pin stabbing me under my arm because it's just pinned in at the moment because I didn't want to like tack it in and then have to take it out and tack it in, take it out, so I knew it'd need tweaking. So yeah, so it's just pinned in and it's sticking in my arm. I can't move. Oh, the joys of dressmaking. Why do I do this? Yes, but I'm hoping you can see. It says, "Kev, how? Ow." Right. So I'm hoping you can see that is looking a lot better. You see I've added some fullness into the sleeve head, so I've got some nice shaping in the pleats at the top, which I think is just nice. You can see I've had to, or rather my husband has had to pin in the back seam on the sleeve just a little bit, just so it was a little bit too loose and baggy, so it's just well, that ended a little bit more, so it's a little bit more snug. But yeah, I think we are just about there. I might just fiddle with the ease in the sleeve head a little bit, but that is potentially something that I can do in the final sleeve anyway. It's really not far off. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased. I've got the seams are sitting in the right place for where I want them on the two-piece sleeve as well. And I think I showed you on the pattern where I've been playing around with the stripe placement, so I'm fairly confident that I'll be able to get the stripes to behave in pretty much the same way that they are on the original costume. So yes, we are making progress. Now the sleeve inside out, and we can now just turn it through again to reveal the full sleeve with the seam allowance and the raw edge encased inside. And I carry on. Hopefully you'll be able to see that chevron effect down the back seam. I'm so pleased. Oh, I'm so pleased with how that's turned out. Oh, look at that. Look at that. To start applying the trimmings to the dress, and the first trimming I'm going to put on is a very delicate black lace trimming which goes around the neckline, and it's also found on the edge of her cuffs as well. Now there are some really lovely clear images available online of the lace detail on this dress, and you can see it is a black leaf kind of embroidery onto a white netting base or an ivory netting base, but I have decided for ease and quickness to go with just a black lace. However, I think the lace that I've found is, it's not perfect, it's not 100% accurate, but it is pretty darn close, and for the sake of the fact it's just a trimming around the neckline and on the cuffs, and that's all really that you see of it on the gown, I think this is pretty close. So I'm hoping that will show up for you, but I will get you some more detailed pictures of this once it's on the dress. But yeah, I'm pretty pleased with that. So yeah, I'm just going to start stitching that in place now, which it'll just be whipped on by hand. That's going to be the quickest and easiest way to do that. Well, it's been a little while, hasn't it, since you've seen anything on this dress. So, yeah, where are we at? I have no idea. Yeah, it's been a while. It's been, well, today is my birthday, and that means I haven't picked up this dress for probably a good 7 months at least. Yeah, it was before Christmas, November time, when I last was working on this dress. Yeah, it's one of those things that just happened. Obviously the plan was to get this done for Halloween, and it didn't quite sort of come to fruition with sort of illness and just other plans and things like that. So it kind of, my plan was to get it finished shortly after sort of Halloween and just do it late. But yeah, I just kind of lost my mojo for it a little bit. And then with the new year, I kind of got excited for different projects, new projects for this year. So yeah, as you've probably seen it in some of my other videos, it's sat in the corner of my workroom, on the mannequin. sort of not being quite finished. And I'll be honest, without going through and checking the footage, I don't know what the last bit was I filmed. I mean, obviously I had started to put the trimming on. I'm presuming I have filmed some of that, but if not, here we are. I'm starting to put the trimming on. And because that is the last job to do on it, I'm hoping it won't take very long. So I thought I would spend my birthday, take a bit of a break from my Edwardian summer lookbook that I've been working on. If you haven't already, do go and check those videos out to see what I've been creating for that. Yeah, and so I thought I'd just take a break from that project and get this project finished because, well, really, this outfit is supposed to be having its debut at an event in 3 weeks' time. So, yeah, nothing like leaving things to the last minute, is there? So yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I don't think it's going to take me too long to do the trimming. I am hoping that I'm going to get it done today, which would be a nice birthday treat if I can get this dress finished. So I've done a first experiment for the trim on the cuff, and yeah, I'm pretty pleased with it. I'm not quite sure how or what is the best way to finish the raw edges. At the moment, the raw edges, I think the original costume is left raw. I can't see any obvious turnover on these edges or anything like that, because I think if it was turned over, it'd be too bulky and a bit too stiff. It wouldn't kind of ruffle and frill kind of in that sort of nice soft way. What I'm hoping is that actually this cotton won't fray too badly. I mean, I've been working with it for quite a while, and it's, you know, it's not like fraying like the chiffon, for example, which is fine because we want a really nice rough raw edge on that, as that shows on the movie costume. And I also think that even if the cotton does fray a little bit, I don't think that's detrimental to the costume or, you know, or the style of the costume. So I have finished the sleeves, the trimming. I don't know how I feel about it, to be honest. There's part of me leaving raw edges that is just, you know, I'm just internally screaming, going, no, I can't do it. I'm not sure how much I like it, but it seems right. And it's certainly raw edges on the chiffon, but I'm just looking at it and it's annoying me, and I just want to pluck, and I just feel like I'm going to be plucking bits of thread off of it all day. But I mean, does it look right? Does it look a mess? I don't know. It kind of is what it is now. Yeah,
can't say that I'm 100% happy with it, but So I've just kind of had a quick look in the mirror in the other room. It definitely looks better from a distance, and it looks okay from a distance. So, I mean, it's hard to... Most of the images that I've got of the original dress aren't that close up anyway, especially not with the sleeves, and they're kind of her promo pictures where she's kind of sort of is a half or 3/4 length cut, and yeah, I haven't been able to find one good enough sort of quality that I can zoom right in on it. But yeah, looking at those images, it doesn't look bad, so we shall carry on, and I shall just have to try and ignore the fray bits as much as I can, but that's part of the aesthetic of the dress. Yeah. So I'm just creating the long strips for the front of the gown. So that means with a 1.5 meter length to fill, I need 3 meters on each side of the gown. Yay! So this is going to be fun.